Welcome to the Bite Size Fitness Podcast with your hosts, Sam Owen and James McCarthy. Questions, so Q&A style questions. Right, let's see. But I've got to be careful. I've got a selection to choose from, yeah.
All right.
So let's see. How related is genetics to being out of shape? I hear some people say that it's actually the cause, and I hear other people saying that it's an excuse. Where do you sit on that spectrum?
Um, so I think personally, I think there are certainly people out there where they get a higher reward system, a higher reward mechanism from eating food, and some of those people naturally deal with different satiety levels and then consequently struggle to moderate their intake. So I do think there is certainly a genetic component to someone who is I'm guessing when we say out of shape, we're talking about someone who's maybe obese. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I
yeah,
presume so. That's out of shape. I
yeah.
presume that's
So
what I
I
mean.
would say there is certainly a genetic component to it, but then obviously then lifestyle factors come into play. You can your your genetics load the gun, but then your actions, determine the result. So
Mhm.
you can to some degree, yeah, you're in control. It may be harder for you than it is for your friend to, stay in shape, control a healthy body weight, but it's certainly not impossible. I mean, it's a prime example why the GLP-1 agonists work wonders for some people because they just shut off that food noise.
Right, right. Yeah. I think you've answered it perfectly. I couldn't agree more because when you look at genetics obviously do play a role, right? Like we understand that, but that doesn't mean then that you still don't have a personal responsibility to look after your health. Like, in my opinion, I don't think that that should outweigh your own personal responsibility, in
Totally
my
agree.
opinion.
Yeah.
But again, you can be empathetic to people's situation, absolutely. Nobody's saying that, but at the end of the day, like your health is your responsibility,
Yep.
and like we've encountered people, unfortunately, that they don't really care about their health. There's a lot of people out there like that.
Mm.
But then there are other people out there that really, really try and, find it difficult, so it's it's all of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Anything else you'd add to that? Or
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, you've nailed it there because I mean, it certainly is hard. If it was easy to maintain good health and staying, I guess, in good physical shape, everyone out there would be doing it. But the environment we have in the world we live in now is designed for convenience and the environment we live in is not designed in the Western world for us to be lean and healthy, put it that way.
right, right.
There are just too many temptations out there. So
Mm.
you have to take responsibility and like we discussed in the previous podcast, have some awareness around your lifestyle and what you're eating and how much you're moving.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and that's something that I think that gets missed today is, is that responsibility. Like, for instance, last night myself, I sat down, I got these creme cookies, mate. I love creme
Oh yeah, of
cookies.
course, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I love them. But,
yeah.
I went over by a few hundred calories, and today I'll probably pull back a touch. I'm not
Mm,
going to go crazy with it, but I'm not going to get down to the exact amount how much I need to pull back by. But I probably, I'm just going to miss one thing out today, or
yeah.
whatever. Like, and I don't think there's that awareness with people, it's kind of just a case of, oh, I'll just keep eating,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and it's easy to do that, so yeah, that's definitely the right way to frame it, I think. What's your thoughts on the whole science-based lifting movement? Do you think it's actually helping people or just confusing them?
Oh, you let rip on this one, sir. Go on.
Well, I've talked about this obviously a couple of episodes back about, I think it was a couple of episodes ago, about kind of my opinion on the science. And, I think you have to. differentiate between nutrition and training. I think that's
Yeah,
really
definitely.
important.
Mm.
I'm massively supportive of the science when it comes to nutrition because it's way more objective.
Hmm.
When you look at the testing and stuff like that, the parameters are more tightly controlled. The data is obviously a lot more objective, but you don't get that in training. And you look at what has evolved today
Mm.
on social media as well, coming back to social media, and you see these young lads, kind of, I don't know if you've seen these videos, but it's like RIP bench press, and they're on a cable machine pulley, with like a
Oh,
roller
right.
behind
Yeah.
their back, like
I
getting
think you
like
sent me one the
extra
other week.
range,
Yeah.
RIP barbell row and these things, right? And they've like made this contraption out of about five different bits of kit. And
Yeah.
then I'm just thinking, what is going on? This is when you take what has evolved in universities and you roll that down the hill some, you end up with that type of training, you
Yeah.
know. And quite frankly, I actually don't think that there's a need for sports science in university. I know that's a controversial opinion and take, and I might get some heat for that, but I actually don't think it is necessary because we understand what works in training. It's a very simple process. Like, you
Mm.
want to get more athletic, if you want to get bigger, if you want to get stronger, the reality is if you're learning from someone that actually knows what they're talking about, it's a simple process. The best way to approach it is an apprenticeship. That's the
Yeah.
best way to approach all of this. Go to a gym, learn from a coach, get mentored, be on the gym floor, work with athletes. That is the direction this industry needs to go in, not academia, not a million different studies that you can never control with 100% certainty. Like I saw one the other day, mate. Um, a new research paper on if you swear more, then somehow that's going to increase your squat or
Right.
squat
Yeah, I
1RM
saw
or
this.
something.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
And
well, for who exactly?
I think,
And
yeah, is it Menno Henselmans who shares those a lot? I think I've seen him
he's the
recently.
epitome of it. Like
Yeah.
I follow his page just to have a laugh,
Mm.
James. Like I see the research papers coming out, and I'm like, this is exactly what I'm on about.
Yeah.
Like this is what happens. Like, are we taking this seriously anymore? Like if you swear your squat when RM goes up, seriously? Like, um, yeah, well, is that where it's come to? You
Mm.
know, like, no, we understand what makes you squat go up. We understand what makes you stronger. We understand how to get more powerful, how to get more explosive. We don't need another training study, you
Yeah.
know? So that's my thoughts anyway. Have I butchered
No,
that
yeah,
one or
you've nailed it. Yeah, I completely agree with you on it. There is just
you
too much of
do?
that, isn't it?
Good.
Like, well, the science says this, the paper says this, and like I said, I'm very much evidence-based when it comes to nutrition. But I obviously with conversations with you and stuff, I completely agree when it comes to training. You can't just rely on the paper, and often it's on untrained individuals as well. So almost anything can work then, can't it? You could give someone a circuit of machine-based exercises with probably 5 reps in reserve, and someone will probably still get a stimulus to it if they've never trained before.
Right, 100%. The other thing as well is like the amount of money these poor students invest,
Mm.
into
Oh,
these
into
courses.
S&C degrees, right?
Yeah, and then, I've seen it before where these people go through these courses and, they come into a gym and you're watching them and they can't deadlift.
Mm.
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
It's no different. I went to university to become a teacher. Maybe it's more of an issue with universities in general these days. I don't know. But I went on a primary education course, paying 7 grand a year, roughly.
Mm.
And the lecturer told us to go outside for the hour. It was a play module
Yeah.
and told us to play for the hour in the playground kicking a football. Whilst the other students in the university were passing us and looking at us like, what are they doing?
God,
She
my
literally had a box of toys, mate. It's crazy.
Oh, it sounds like you were living the dream though. My degree, I spent a lot of lectures, learning about programming and IT, boring shit. Yours sounds like fun. Kicking the football around sounds like when I was 9 again in primary school. We play at lunchtime. Oh,
The
that was the
problem
dream.
is, James, the problem is I'm not nine, am I?
No.
You know? And I was stood there thinking, what is going on?
Yeah,
When can I leave now? That's what I
yeah.
thought, you know? Can I leave now? And no, I'd stay there for the entire thing. That was the low point for me in university, you know? So maybe as
Play hide
initially,
and seek.
I play hide and seek. A
I'd be good at
hide
that,
and
wouldn't I?
yeah, you would be good at that. Well, a hide and seek, I'm out.
Yeah,
Okay. A top scotch, I'm
yeah,
out. You know?
yeah.
But anyway, fuck it was a nightmare. Honestly, that I didn't enjoy that. Um, okay, let's see. Is listen to your body the worst advice beginners get?
Do you
Go
want to go
on.
on that one?
No, 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 no. I've answered the last two. I want you
All
to
right,
go on this
listen to
one.
your body. What, in
Listen.
terms of now, like in the gym? Oh, okay. I get the angle, I think now. Presuming I've got the angle right, I would say that is bad advice for most beginners, unless you are already like, you have a never say die attitude, because I think
Right.
most beginners in the gym will underestimate what they're capable of in terms of how many reps they can perform, and then consequently, because it's a new stimulus to them, something feels hard and they think, shit, I'm close to failing here. Unrack the bar or put the dumbbells down, whatever it be. Whereas in
Right.
reality, there's, as we know, I'm not going to talk about studies, but based on experience, most people have a lot more in the tank. If you put a gun to someone's head, typically with a beginner, and you said, right, get 5 more reps, or the gun's going off, most people would be able to get those 5 reps. Whereas if you asked them, they'd probably say, "Oh no, I could maybe have squeezed out 1 more rep."
Yeah,
That's my take
100%.
on it.
I agree with that. I think the only exception is if you've injured yourself, that's it.
Of
Like,
course, yeah,
but that's objective then, isn't it? I
yeah.
think listen to your body if it's objective. Don't listen to your body if it's subjective.
Hmm,
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good rule,
that's
right?
good.
Like, you know, what about when it comes to nutrition? What do you say then?
In what respect now?
So say like hunger signals and stuff like that.
Again, you kind of need to dig a little bit deeper into it, because someone may be hungry for any number of reasons, because there's quite a few mechanisms behind it. So you'd have to look at how long they've been. Have they been dieting for too long? When I say too long, meaning too long in a deficit that their energy levels are dipping. Um, have they are they consuming enough protein to help satisfy them between meals? Are they very sleep deprived? Because that will also drive up hunger as well. So there are quite a few tangibles that come into that.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely. Well, look, let's finish on one more.
Hmm.
I'm gonna pick a real spicy one now. Um, let's see. Okay, let's go with this one. Do people worry too much about perfect form instead of just getting stronger? Go on.
Um,
I want to know your thoughts on
right. So
this.
I think there's
Yeah, before you start now,
all right, yeah. What now?
remember who you're in front of, sir.
Who I'm in front of. All right. Okay. Um,
Hey, the audacity in that, can you imagine if I was actually serious? Like, like how obnoxious, you know?
so I would say is it's like a 50-50 split. I think you can ear too much on either side. So I think if you go in the gym and you all, who gives a shit about form, just rip the weight up or move the weight, whatever it be, then that's potentially dangerous. Because obviously you have to have some level of form to what you're doing with an exercise. Otherwise, why do we have coaching? Just go in the
Mm,
gym and just move the weight by any means necessary, isn't it? But then I also think form can be overdone to the point where, you know, someone is set up in the absolute perfect angle for I don't know. I've seen it overdone to the point where then it looks like someone isn't necessarily training to their full potential. They're
mm,
more overly
mm.
focused on that. But again, I'm not right on this. So what's your take?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely. I think that I've had paralysis by overanalysis tons of times, where like you care so much about the technique, it gets in the way of the technique,
Mm. Yeah.
So you're so much in your own head about it that and that's of course not a fault of the technique itself. It's a fault with you and your natural tendencies. Like obviously I've got obsessive tendencies, and I can get quite neurotic about things as well, and the particulars of things. So I do think that that can be an issue 100%, and I've seen that happen, That being said, like I'd agree, that's the point of coaching, right? Like you need to have someone that has a framework of technique, has a philosophy of how a movement should be performed and executed in that way, so that you strive for the gold standard
Mm.
always, but don't have impossible expectations of yourself as well, like it's never going to be perfect. Like we're
No. Well,
asymmetric by design, so there's that, but but yeah, what were you
I
going to
think
say
also
though?
filming your training can be helpful with that as well.
Yeah.
Because certainly for me, particularly when I'm squatting, obviously I don't have safety rails there, which I know we've obviously had this conversation with before, but I'll sometimes perform a set and I think, shit, that was tough. And then I watch it back and almost again covering over that the previous question. And I think, oh yeah, there probably wasn't a lot more there. And then I watch it back and I'm like, oh, the form was really good. And I was, for example, on a squat, the bar was moving up pretty comfortably.
Right,
But in my
right.
head, I'll think, oh, the form probably wasn't very good there, and I was probably, didn't have a lot left. And then you watch it back, and that gives you the confidence then going into your next set because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
actually, that was that was comfortable. I've got that in the tank. So,
Well, it's amazing how such a simple process can teach you a lot about yourself,
mm,
because I said this earlier to one of my guys who I'm training right now, and I said, you'll be amazed. Like he's just getting started into it. And I said, uh, this is going to teach you so much about yourself, like
mhm,
going up 2.5 kilos of workout and seeing how far you can take that. Because as you just alluded to there, you'll think, oh, that is really tough. And
mm.
then you watch it back and you're like, actually, that was flying up. What am I
Yeah,
on
that's
about?
it.
So
Yeah.
it alters your perception of what's difficult, and it's different from a marathon. It's different from not to diminish how hard a marathon is. Like marathon's
Mm.
really hard in a different way, you know. This is brutal though. It really does change your perception of things, you know. But yeah, it's a funny thing. I do think that if everybody goes through it, like that process, just exhausting that, you know, it changes who you are. Like then
Mm.
that's not an over exaggeration. Like it on a cellular level, it changes who you are, but psychologically, it changes how you view yourself,
The ability to put through the suffering, I guess, isn't it? Well, with
Yeah.
you, I've seen it anyway.
Mate, I'm getting pumped up already for tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
getting ready to go. I am. Can you feel the energy, or is it like,
It's going to
can
be
you?
another Portugal situation, isn't it? Where you turn around to the people in the gym and you're just like, yeah, I don't want to do this either, but here I am dominating it.
I'm ready to go. I do
Yeah.
not. I might go there tonight. I might just go there tonight and get it done.
Do it. Is it? Yeah, yeah. I think you've got it.
Big 240 for five.
Oh no, hold on, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. It's Thursday evening. And we know you don't leave the house on a Thursday evening, don't we?
Well, for my sausage and pasta. I'm having that
Yeah.
tonight. Yeah. I'm getting carved up tonight. High protein, high carbs tonight. I'm going in. hot tomorrow. I prepared Oliver. I said, mate, I'm going in hot tomorrow. I
Oh,
said,
well, he's training with you, is he?
yeah, I said, there's not
Yeah.
going to be a lot of talking. I said, I'm coming in hot
What is it? You're going
tomorrow.
for tomorrow? What's the number?
240 kilos for 5 reps.
What's the most you've ever done for five?
Well, last week, no, two
Oh, is
weeks
it?
ago.
Right, you're at your max now, then, are you? Because I know, like, for example, when we were in Portugal last year, you were almost like rebuilding back up, weren't you? Because I think you'd been ill
Yeah.
and stuff and whatever.
Yeah. No, no. The best I did was 235. So this is 240.
And what's your
So,
highest weight you've ever lifted for, like, a double or whatever it be?
well, single 255.
Is it? All right.
So this is 240 for five, which would be a massive 5 RM for me.
And if you were
So,
asked tomorrow to go in and do a 1 RM, what would you think off the top of your head that you'd get?
oh, it's hard to know, mate. I don't know.
An estimate, just a throwing out there number.
Do you know? I'm gonna go confident.
260, is it?
270.
270, you reckon you get that tomorrow, is it? Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
going
so you're
confident.
cruising then. You've got
I have to get into that mindset.
So
I
you need to
have
get
to.
270 by June. So you're absolutely cruising. Oh, I didn't, you may as well just have a couple of deloads in there and just chill out.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
270 mate. I have to get into that mindset. I have to. I can't be in any other mindset. I have to be in that mindset. So I'm
Yeah.
locked in on that 270.
Yeah.
There's no other number I care about. So I'm in. I'm ready to go. I'm loaded up, ready to be shot out of the cannon, you
Yeah.
know? Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed that one, feel free to leave that rating review and we'll catch you in the next one.